Why is Democratic Representative Adam Schiff hysterical and throwing temper tantrums? I'm going to tell you. Adam Schiff is absolutely hysterical over Chairman Devin Nunes, the chairman of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, Chairman Devin Nunes' memo, which details FISA abuses, Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act abuses, presumably by the hierarchy of the DOJ and the FBI, also some of the intelligence community, on behalf of the Obama White House for Hillary Clinton. Now, we all know that story. That story's old now. We're waiting for the memo to be released. And Schiff is losing his mind. So remember when the memo first popped up, Schiff did a counter memo. Well, Representative Lee Zeldin from New York, a guy that I happen to believe and trust, said I read both memos. One memo details serious abuses by our government and federal law enforcement and intelligence agencies. The other is all about damage control and spin. Of course, he was saying that Nunes' memo is accurate and Schiff's is about damage control and spin. Schiff has offered nothing substantive to refute the allegations in Nunes' memo, whatever they may be. We have a lot of speculation on what they may be. And people like Representative Trey Gowdy, Representative Matt Gaetz have alluded to enough on air for us to know what's in that memo. FBI Christopher Wray this past Sunday went and read the memo. He went up to Congress, went to the Capitol, read the memo, and the next day removed FBI number 2, Andrew McCabe, from his post as deputy director. Now, I researched back to J. Edgar Hoover, back to the start of the FBI, the beginning, in the ascent stages of the FBI. I could have missed one, but I don't think I did. I researched this for quite a while. I was not able to find one single solitary instance of a director removing a deputy director. Now, there were instances of deputy directors retiring, resigning to go to the private sector, leaving to go to other agencies, moving within the FBI, moving to task forces within the intelligence community, things like that. But I couldn't find one instance of a director reading a memo that alleged wrongdoing by the deputy director on a Sunday, no less, and then removing the deputy director the next day. I could not find one instance of that. So when Democrats downplay this and say, oh, it's no big deal, McCabe, oh, he stepped down, he was ready to retire, they're lying to you. Not true. This is historical. This has never happened since the FBI came to being. It's never happened, and that's why Schiff is hysterical. Now, Schiff's new allegation is that Devin Nunes secretly changed wording in the memo. He's saying that there are glaring inaccuracies and distortions. Well, Byron York over at the Washington Examiner spoke to some sources on the committee who said, well, the changes were grammatical and some changes were put into place by the Dems and the FBI themselves. And then the committee confirmed that. A committee spokesman said, quote, the changes to the memo were minor edits, such as grammatical changes, and 2 edits requested by the FBI and the minority themselves, the minority being the Democrats. Now, if they were requested by the minority, that means they were requested by Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff is the ranking Democrat, the ranking minority member on the House Permanent Select Committee for Intelligence, meaning he and he alone speaks for the Democrats with anything generated by or coming out of the committee. So if the minority recommended edits to the memo, additions or changes to the memo, and they were implemented, that came from Adam Schiff to Devin Nunes. So Schiff making it seem as if he was unaware of these changes, well, it's most likely a lie. Or Schiff gave Nunes disinformation to put into the memo in an attempt to discredit the memo. Either way, this little plot blew up in Schiff's face. He looks like a fool. Now let's think about the double standard here. It's not okay for the chairman of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence to take the recommendations of the FBI and Democrats, his minority ranking member on the committee, and implement those changes. That's not okay. It's not okay to rework your grammar to make it proper and correct or to fix spelling errors, typos. That's not okay. Those are crises. But the FBI changing felonious criminal culpability from grossly negligent to non-criminal extremely careless, well, that's no big deal. There's another scary trend here. When you dilute it all down and you look at what Schiff's real objections are, they're process. Well, I wasn't told about these edits. Well, that we know that's not true, because if they came from the minority, he knew all about them. And he was there when Christopher Wray was reading the memo. So if the FBI recommended edits, he was sitting in the room when Director Wray recommended those edits and they were implemented. So that's the double standard, right? That's the big double standard. But let's think about the process piece of this. So knowing all that, Schiff is still objecting to the process by which it was done. Well, who else objected to process or used process? Well, Comey deflected, changing grossly negligent to extremely careless, using the process argument. Hillary herself, well, she never denied her emails were classified, right? She used a process argument as to how they got from point A to the server in her bathroom. That was her only defense, the process. Comey's only defense, the process. Schiff's only claim, the process. Who else is using process? Robert Mueller. There is no underlying crime of Russia collusion, crimes consisting of Russia collusion. There is no underlying obstruction of justice charge, because you'd have to have been obstructing justice on something. And if there was no Russia collusion, there was nothing on which to obstruct justice. So Mueller's got nothing, but he's prosecuting people on process crimes. Wow. The Democrats and their cronies love process. They use it to deflect and swat away allegations. They use it to prosecute their enemies. Process crimes. Nothing substantive, nothing material, no underlying crimes. All about process. That's a very big problem when we have a senior ranking member, the ranking Democrat on the committee, not wanting transparency for the American people. Now, what I say, as an American, as a conservative, as a believer in the rule of law, as a believer in the First Amendment, as a former cop, open up the books. Open it all up. Show us everything. Have hearings under oath, not closed-door committee hearings in D.C. Put them on C-SPAN. Put them on television. Put them on CNN. Put them on Fox. Let every witness, every asset, every subject, everybody surrounding this situation of potential FISA abuses, of the Mueller investigation, of what went on inside the FBI and the IC, put them on television. Put the ones on that are good for the Republicans. Put the ones on who are good for the Democrats. Release Schiff's memo as well as Nuñez's memo. Release it all and let the American public decide what's best for us. Let us make our decision. But Democrats don't want to do that. Remember when I analyzed the State of the Union, I said that the Congressional Black Caucus was sitting like this and Schumer was mad and Nancy Pelosi's weirdo meth jaw was going like this? It's not because they hate Donald Trump. It's because he debunks their lie. They don't want transparency. Democrats want to tell you, you're no good without us. The Congressional Black Caucus exists because it tells Black Americans you're not smart enough, you're not good enough, you don't work hard enough, you're too incompetent to get ID to vote. Then Trump lays out a path for Black Americans saying, you are good enough, you are smart enough, we want you to be wealthy, we want you to be prosperous, we want to give you the same educational opportunities. Here's the money, here are the opportunities, here you go. The markets are soaring. We're not going to give you handouts, but if you work a little harder, if you go for that brass ring, you can have it. And Black Americans say, you know what? He's right. We're working. We've got more money in our checks. We've got our bonuses. We've got lower taxes. We're taking our kids to Disney World. We're buying them more Christmas presents. Hey, Democrats. Hey, Congressional Black Caucus. You've been lying to us for years. Donald Trump's making our lives pretty good with this new paycheck, this increased paycheck. The Democrats are terrified. And that's what they're doing with the memo. Adam Schiff, in true Democrat fashion, is telling the American people, you're too stupid, too simple, too basic, too rudimentary to understand what's in all this complex FBI and legal and governmental stuff. You won't understand it, so just you don't even need to see, you don't need to see it. You just take my word for it. Devin Nuñez is lying to you. This is so complicated. You measly peons, you're never going to understand this. Take my word for it. They're lying. Hillary was wonderful. The Democrats are great. Trump is terrible. Nuñez is corrupt. Let Mueller run unfettered. Leave McCabe alone. Put him back in his job. Nothing happened. Take my word for it. I'm a Democrat. The government is here to help. We'll take care of you. Come to Big Brother and Big Sister. But Americans aren't having it. They're sending the hashtag release the memo viral. They want it released because we're sick of career politicians lying to us. We're sick of it. We don't want it anymore. We're over it. We're done with it. The game is up. And that's why Adam Schiff is absolutely hysterical, because he's got nothing. This memo, when released, and man, I hope it's today, is going to be absolutely damning for Democrats. Damning. People are going to lose their careers. People may go to jail over this. The American people are going to understand how their federal law enforcement agencies, most terrifyingly the ones with badges, guns, power of arrest, power of prosecution, were weaponized on behalf of one political party and one political candidate. So I say open the books, open it all up, put the witnesses on television, put everybody on television, on the record, out in the open. Democracy dies in darkness, and sunlight is the best disinfectant. If you like this terribly important content, I want to keep bringing it to you every day, every single day. So please subscribe to our premium service at www.therebel.media/shows. Don't forget to check out my new hour-long show, Off the Cuff Declassified, right here on The Rebel. Thanks so much for watching. I'll be back with you tomorrow.